I've been writing songs for quite a while now, most of my life really, and I'm just finally getting to a place where I'm releasing music that I'm pretty proud of. But it was a long road getting here. Over the years, I have just kept at the craft, as they say, and just tried to be as consistent as I could with my songwriting and music making practice. It's not always easy to continue to harvest that precious inspiration, but we are really lucky to live in a time where we have so many cool songwriting and creative tools at our disposal. What's going on, my friends? Patrick here, and today I want to share a plugin with you that has been super useful in my songwriting and beat making process, especially on those days where I'm feeling a little stuck. That plugin is Captain Chords. I've talked about Captain Chords a couple of times on the channel before, but today I thought I would put this practice of songwriting to the test, show you just how easy it is to create great music using Captain Chords. A special thank you to my friends at Mixed and Key for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to visit the video description for more info and for a discount code on Captain Chords. Writing music and making beats is a huge part of my process. I always like to keep a constant running list of fresh ideas for either my own artist project or something that I maybe want to work on with a collaborator. In any event, I typically find myself working on new ideas on a weekly basis, if not a daily basis. And sometimes that idea well can run dry, and that's where a plugin like Captain Chords comes in really, really useful. So when you open up Captain Chords, you can select the key that you would like to work in. You can see they've got all of these different scales. I'll go with B flat major for today. Once you select your key, it opens up this working window piano roll here, and you can start building out your chord progressions. You have all of your different chords that fit whatever key you've selected, and you can see as you select each chord, you have all of these chord extensions that show up down here, so you can add whatever coloration you would like to your chord progressions. You can also program custom chords if you like. So for example, if we wanted to do a minor 7 flat 5 chord, you can see up here you also have these 4 tabs that allow you to program different chord progressions for each section of your song, which is really helpful. You also have this section over here that says play, which I find really useful, especially when I'm on the go, because you can select computer keyboard and now you can play chords using your computer keyboard. So before I start building this chord progression, let's lay down a little beat just to give ourselves something to play on top of. It's a little fast. Let's try. That feels good. All right, that's feeling pretty good. Let's pick a sound preset. All right, that'll do for now. Kind of gets us into that 80s ballpark, which is I think what I'm gonna go for with this track. So if we come back over to this play tab, it kind of allows you to experiment with some different chords in real time. You can throw on a loop and kind of jam along and test out some different chord progressions. So let's check it out. Pretty cool little feature. You've got your different inversions, you've got borrowed chords, so there's some versatility here. And if you create anything while you're jamming that you really like, Captain Chords records the whole thing as you're playing, and you can just drop this MIDI region onto your project. But I think I have a little bit of an idea of where I want to go with this. So I am going to quickly just sketch out some chords here. So straight away, that's pretty boring. We got a little bit of work to do. Cool. So moving these little sliders around, you can change the length of each chord. It's starting to feel a little bit better. But now let's check out these chord voicings and what we can do to make them a little more interesting. I do like the triads for this 80s style synth part, but I want to see if we can find some voicings and inversions that work a little bit better together. First thing I definitely want to add to all of these chords is a bass note, and you can add more notes by using this complexity knob. The complexity knob just adds more of the same notes that are in the chord that you've already selected. So in the case of this triad, if we turn the complexity knob all the way up to 7, we just have 2 different octaves of the same chord. Also, if you want to add another low note below this B flat, for example, you can just, the same way you would in piano roll, hold Option, drag the note down. I'm just going to draw in these low octaves. Okay, so the front half is feeling pretty good. In the back half of the progression, even though I'm going to the 6th chord, I want to keep this same leading tone melody line that we had in the first half. So I'm just going to get a different chord inversion here. I actually think I want one more chord. All right, this is looking pretty good. Let's take a listen. Captain Chords takes all of this MIDI information, organizes it into a nice little MIDI region for you that you can just drag and drop onto your project. All right, so I've got our chords playing through Astra. I am using a retro gospel cheese brass preset from the new Oliver Power Tools 3-pack. Made a few little modifications. You can copy these settings if you would like. I've also got some EQ on here. Got some Valhalla Vintage Verb on there as well. The huge synth hall preset seemed fitting. Let's take a listen. It's sounding good. I do think I want this 5 chord here to happen both times. Cool, so I'm going to add another synth. I want something nice and low beneath our chords. I'm going to grab Astra again just because it's the flavor of the month and I'm enjoying it. But if you remember that play feature that we were using in Captain Chords, you can actually load that up as a MIDI effects plugin. So that computer keyboard play feature that we were using in Captain Chords, you can also use with your favorite software instruments. You can also come over here and select play melodies. Now here you trigger single notes as opposed to whole chords, but it's really pretty cool. So I am going to come down here and just play in some octaves. I'd like this to follow the chord change here. So that came together super quickly, and I know we only got like 8 measures of music here, but it's already starting to feel like a song for me. Definitely ready for some guitar and bass. I'm going to map this arrangement out a little bit, give myself a little track to play to, but let's record some guitar and bass. So quickly, I just wanted to take a look at the final arrangement. When I'm putting together music or a beat, I try to at least get a verse section and a chorus section really locked in. Then the rest of the song kind of gets fitted or adjusted to the lyrics/vocals. For this one, took a lot of inspo from the latest records from Bleachers and John Mayer. Been listening to those two records a lot lately. Really digging the 80s vibes, and I especially love the chord changes on Last Train Home and Shot in the Dark. Those definitely inspired our chord changes, and like this guitar part is very Shot in the Dark reminiscent. I also added in this synth part to kind of further accentuate those moving chord changes, and I played in the notes with Captain Play. This guitar part definitely feels very similar to Shot in the Dark. I'll probably have to take that out if this song ends up going the distance, but for now it's just kind of buried in the background of the track and you're not really paying attention to it because we got this guitar part going on. Just kind of playing the same arpeggio over and over and swapping out the appropriate root note. I've got a ton of chorus and delay on most of these guitar parts, but especially this one, which brings us into our little chorus section, or in the case of the little clip that I played you, the guitar solo section. But there's quite a few guitar parts going on here. I took a lot of inspiration from Ross Campbell's recent 80s guitar video. Definitely recommend checking that out. But I added some power chords here that kind of go along with the kick drum and kind of flow with the beat. And if we listen to this section without our guitar solo, it definitely feels like a chorus section to me. Let me know what you think. In this little synth part here that kind of transitions us from the verse into the chorus, again, I used Captain Play to play out those notes. It's just the same little arpeggio over and over, and then I automated in some volume, pan, and filter, just to give it a little bit more of like a riser sort of effect. And then lastly, for our beat, these two samples are what we started with, but for the intro and verse sections of the song, I just kind of chopped up the parts of this Oliver sample that I really liked. On the verse, I added in this kick drum sample that I found in Output Arcade, I believe. Then on the chorus, I added in this drum top section, as well as like another Oliver sample that I found, but this is what the whole drum beat sounds like. Well, all right, my friends, that is going to wrap up today's video. As I'm sure you can tell, Captain Chords is a super useful tool. It can help you come up with song ideas in literally minutes. As a guitar player, somebody who isn't quite as experienced on keys, Captain Chords has been such a useful tool helping me come up with different keyboard parts for my tracks, different synth parts. Really love that. If you want to check out Captain Chords, please do visit the link in the description below for 10% off your purchase. But listen, my friends, until next time, my name is Patrick. I'll catch you real soon, all right? Peace.